In this video I want to show you another example of standard tagging, again using an insurance company, but this time a different one. So let's go to the codes tab to pick up AIG, which is also on our list. Yep, right at the top here, or near the top. Once we've selected that, we can then go back to our filing section and we can see that the ticker has changed to the one we want, AIG, and rather than press Alt F5 just for a bit of variation, remind you that you can also right click and click on refresh, and that will also refresh the query to bring back data for AIG in this instance. And as you can see, we've got a lot of standard tagging of marketable securities. This isn't the sort of the thing I wanted to show you, but just whilst we're here, just again sort of evidencing the fact that for insurance company you get a lot of granular detail, and if you want to see it at a more standard level, then this standard tagging is therefore really useful. What I wanted to draw attention to is what happens when there's an extension. So an extension is where they haven't tagged using a standard tagging system such as US GAAP, but they've chosen to tag it using their own unique taxonomy. That's the company's own unique taxonomy. So they've used a tag here that may well be unique to this filing, to this company, and you may not see in any other filed company reports. So because of that, it means obviously that it's not comparable. So we have to deal with that in one way or the other. Now, as you can see, we got a blank here because we don't currently make any attempt to classify these extension tags. What you can do, though, of course, is to overwrite them yourself by reference to the X financials. So you can basically bring these tags into the standard classification system that we've set up with the X financials in order to make these tags and this data comparable. So if we maybe just go to the top. So let's go back to the filing section. Just remind ourselves of the item that we've got a tag. So we've got something called reinsurance assets net of allowance, and if we look over here, we'll see what they've described it, which is pretty much the same thing. So we're talking about reinsurance assets. So what we can do in order to find an appropriate tag is go to the X financials and maybe search for anything which is related to reinsurance. So if we go Control F, and looks like I have, not surprisingly, recently searched for it, as obviously I have prepared this example a little bit earlier. If we search for this reinsurance, and we will find that there are several items which bear the word reinsurance. And just to check, we're looking at the assets side of the balance sheet here, so we're in the right area, and as you can see, there are 5 items we could choose. None of them is a perfect match. I would probably say that the item we are looking at is potentially a mixture of multiple items within this set of reinsurance items, probably maybe some reinsurance premiums and maybe some reinsurance recoverables, but they've just labelled it all together as reinsurance assets. So we got a couple of options here. If we want to stick to the chart, we can go which is that most likely to be, and just based on what I know, which is that because we have access to obviously the entire database of all filings that have ever been filed with the SEC, I know how frequently these items have been used, and that information is what has informed how we have created the X financials. Not only do we pay attention to the items that you may want to analyze, we also pay attention to those which have been most frequently disclosed. So the two items which you see a lot in insurance companies where they are engaging in reinsurance are prepaid reinsurance premiums and reinsurance recoverables. But I can tell you that reinsurance recoverables is twice as likely to appear as prepaid reinsurance premiums. So most of that is likely to be reinsurance recoverables. So we could say, okay, well, that's good enough. We will use that tag. So obviously we can just copy that and stick it in our filing section, and where our blank was, there we go. Just paste that in there, and we've tagged it. Now we might think that that's not satisfactory. We might think that we need a more specific tag, and there's nothing stopping you basically putting your own tag in. Yeah, instead of putting in reinsurance recoverables, you might say, well, actually I want to use my own tag. So you're basically extending our set of tags. I'm going to put it in there and call that reinsurance assets. And it may well be that as we analyze more and more companies, we decide that, so sort of going back to the X financials, that we do need an extra group heading, and that's something we've already done that in a couple of places in the X financials, where we feel in order to sort of aid analysis and to sort of simplify the structure, what we've done is we've just added the odd sort of super group, as it were. So I know we've got one for fees, for example, in the income statement for commercial and industrial companies, where there are lots of different sort of fees that a company may well pay, and we've created an extra heading which sort of encapsulates all of those, just to make it easier to compare fees from one industry to another. So similarly, we might take that view on reinsurance, and yeah, the other thing to say is that this chart, the X financials, is we hope sort of organic, and will continue to grow as we sort of experience more and more filings to create capture more and more of the information that you want to see tagged. So that's a sort of long way of going around and saying that you have total control here. You can decide how these items are tagged, and you can overwrite those tags with your own. So that's obviously what we've done in this instance. Of course, as soon as we refresh this data, Alt F5, that tag will disappear. So you've either got to have some sophisticated system whereby this data, which you're bringing back as queries here, feeds into yet another model, yet another tab, where it's a mixture of this and your own tagging, or it would be good if you could record this within our database, and that brings us on to the standard section, because that is something that we now allow you to do. So in the next video we will start to look at that.